Hello again, everybody, and welcome to what is normally the most exciting half hour in television. Well,
in show
we
business.
have a bonus. We have a full hour here this evening, and it's
and
live.
So if we screw it up, we can't go back and do it over again.
Which, with the two of us, you just never know.
You never know.
So how are you? Welcome back. How did you go through the whole summer without taping these shows?
I pretended.
Dreadful. It was dreadful.
Yeah, I did. I did some things that were good, though, you know, and kind of traveled a lot, recruiting a lot, doing things to get ready for September that you always do, and getting away with my family. And it seems like you go from graduation in May, and you wake up the next morning, and it's time to go back to school again. It's incredible how fast the time goes.
I know it does. Although like you said, you got away with your family. You got to spend some time at the beach, which I know is your favorite time of year.
Yes, it is. August. Yeah. Yeah.
Good for you. Well, now you're back, and the weather's getting cold. It means basketball season is upon us.
Basketball season. That's the same thing. You know, we started practice October 13th, and we're, not even a month into it, and you're playing your first game. It's the earliest, ever since I've been coaching, and it just seems like, we just got started. We're halfway in between putting this in and putting that in, but everybody's in the same boat, so time to play.
Absolutely. Well, listen, folks, if you have any questions for Geno, you call that number you see on your screen, and he will be happy to answer. I can't guarantee you're going to like his answer, but
absolutely.
Yeah, please dial that number, 800-842-2788. Give us a call, ask your questions, and
if Tony answers, just tell him, that it'll be Tony upstairs. If it's a different Tony, you might want to check the number again and dial a different number.
Well, there's a lot of fun things we can talk about before we take our first call. The first, I want to say, April 11th is a pretty big evening. It is a roast and toast of Geno Auriemma that CPTV is holding. It's a big fundraiser for CPTV, but it will be I think it's going to be a great, fun evening.
I've never heard anything described as a roast and toast. What does that mean?
Well, typically the word roast is, kind of jab, poke fun.
Okay.
But people are going to toast you. It's not just...
Toast also is like burnt.
Oh, well, apparently your glass is half empty.
They're going to burn me, right? They're going to toast me.
Well, if I have anything to say about it.
A roast and a toast.
Well, it's going to be...
The idea is a great idea.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Just to get a whole bunch of people together and,
well, it'll
have some fun.
Yeah, it'll be an evening of laughter.
Yeah, that's basically what we're going to do, is get together and laugh a lot. And
can we laugh at your expense?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Makes it more
I don't
fun
have a problem with that. I'm okay with that.
Okay, terrific.
We can do it.
We'll be talking a lot more about that next week on our first game, which I believe is the 13th.
Details to follow. Monday.
Details forthcoming. Monday, the 13th, against the Richmond Spiders.
The Richmond Spiders.
So you're not going to talk at all about them. There's too much work to do.
Yeah, I have no idea anyway, because they've got a couple kids that didn't come back. They've got kids that graduated. So first game, you don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
You have no idea.
And they play Saturday against Fairfield.
Yeah. So you might be able to get some idea, but it's awfully tough for these kind of games.
All right. Well, our first call is here. We have Brendan from West Hartford. Brendan, go ahead. You are on the air with Geno. Oh, apparently you're not. Thanks for calling, Brendan.
It's all right, Brendan.
It's all right. Give us a call back, Brendan. We have some fun questions we could talk about. We'll talk a little bit about this team, the young kids. There's so many young kids. You have no seniors on this particular team. You seem to have a different energy coming into the season, I think, because of this group. Talk about this particular group of players. It's just from the time that I've spent around them, they're just a really fun group of kids.
Well, they are, because they know they're young and they know they're inexperienced, so there's nothing to be nervous about on their part. There isn't the same level of expectation, I think, that generally surrounds kids that all of a sudden are seniors and they've done some unbelievable things, and now they feel the pressure of having to kind of add to that. So this group's a little more laid back and a little more loose, you know. But so far that's been their personality, and I want them to have a personality. Every team has to develop a personality, and this group seems to be fun-loving, and they work hard. They do what you ask them to do, and going into the first game, I'm actually pretty calm and looking forward to it, whatever that means. I mean, I don't know.
That's different from at least the last 2 years.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because maybe the last 2 years I wasn't quite sure what we were going to get, because you keep waiting for people to, add more, add more, and now we're a bunch of young kids looking to have fun.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
Richard from Westport, you are on the air. Richard.
Geno, how are you? Could you compare the relative strength of the Big East and the ACC, and which conference do you think will have more teams standing in late March and early April?
I don't know. I mean, the ACC has Maryland, who won a national championship last year, North Carolina, Final Four team, and Duke was a Final Four team. So arguably they were the best conference last year because they had the best teams up top. And I would venture to say that they're going to have an awful lot of good teams. How many go to the NCAA tournament? I don't know. We have 16, so it's hard for us to. I like to think that on any given year we can get 8, and that still leaves half of our conference out.
Right.
If the ACC gets 6, that's almost half of their total. So I don't know. I like the teams that we have up at the top. I think the teams we have in the middle, from 3 to 10 or 4 to 10, are unbelievably good.
Yeah, it's a tough league. It is.
So I don't know that anybody's going to be surprised if we get 8 teams in, or at least 7 like we did last year.
All right, Joe from Rocky Hill. Your question for Geno, Joe.
Good evening, Megan.
Good evening, Joe.
Auriemma.
Good evening.
Do you think that the absence of seniors on a team is a positive, a negative, or neutral?
Good third option.
I think it can be, at any particular time, it can be all 3. But my general feeling on seniors is if you have great senior leadership, like when we had Diana, or when that whole group of Sue, Swin, Asia, and Tamika, then obviously it's invaluable. But if you don't have seniors, like last year we had, I thought, 4 seniors whose personality types didn't really translate into being those kinds of leaders with the basketball and having that kind of mentality to go ahead and do that. This year, not having any, I think it forces some of the younger players to have to do things earlier on than they would, if they say, I'll wait. So someone like Mel and, Sade and Keisha and even Renee as a sophomore, they're going to have to do a lot more than they would normally have to do. So I think in this case, it may end up being a positive for us.
Sure. Hey, none is better than bad ones, right?
Well, if you don't have any, there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
Provided you've got somebody in the program that's doing it. And I think Renee Montgomery as a sophomore and Mel Thomas as a junior are going to turn out to be 2 really, really good leaders for our team.
Okay, Michelle from Bristol.
Hi,
Michelle.
Megan. Hi, Geno.
Hi.
Hi, Michelle.
My question for you was, you used Swanee quite a bit last year for point. Do you plan on using her again this year?
Yeah, I think Keisha's probably going to play even more than she did last year. I thought towards the end of the season she came on and played fabulous basketball, and it took her a little while to kind of get into that groove. But right now Renee and Keisha are the only 2 really experienced guards that can bring the ball up the floor. So I would look for Keisha to play an even bigger role than she did last year.
And what an interesting dynamic the 2 of them are when you play them together.
Yeah, under the right circumstances, it's a lot of fun. I saw them yesterday I saw them on the court together, and as I looked at them, there were a couple times when, because we had Tina, Kylie, and Sade out there, there were a couple times where I thought we were playing with 3 players because I couldn't see the 2 of them. You know, and there's no way to get around it. I mean, we got 2 tiny guards out there, and given the right circumstances, those 2 create a lot of problems for teams.
Well, since you mentioned the 3 other guys, would you care to explain a little bit about maybe you can explain the freshmen who have come in this year and just their physical stature as well as what they're going to bring to the team?
Well, everybody's been talking so much about Tina and how
Tina Charles.
You know, Tina Charles is so I think so much more advanced from a offensive standpoint. You know, she's able to do some things that takes kids a long time to do at the college level. She knows where she is on the floor. She knows where she wants the ball, and when she catches it, she knows what needs to be done with it. Way more than most freshmen do coming in. So I would think her impact is going to be immediate. You know, if like you saw in the first exhibition game.
Right.
Kylie McLaren, who again, her contributions are going to be important because, again, Brittany, we don't know whether she's going to be playing a lot, a little. We don't have a lot of people in that position right now. So Kylie, the fact that she's such a good passer, is a pretty good shooter, has a tremendous understanding of, you know, when to, when not to pass the ball, and can deliver passes, becomes almost invaluable. Now it's our job to, you know, get her physically able to play a lot of minutes. You know, if we could do that, then she's going to be tremendously effective. And Kristen Phillips hasn't practiced much. Just the last 3 or 4 days she's practiced. So we don't know yet, you know, where she fits in. But I think Megan Garler and Jackie Fernandez have done a great job of kind of finding their little spots. Jackie's more in the learning mode right now. Megan's more of a she comes in and does all those little things that you like to see done. You know, I think she was in the first exhibition game. She played like 4 minutes and had, you know, a couple steals, a couple loose ball rebounds, and all that stuff. And Jackie's just more of a, you know, going to have to learn to play the guard spot at the college level. And but all 5 of them, I think, are intriguing individually, and together, I think they're a really good group.
All right, Matt from Norwich. Matt, what is your question for Geno?
Hi, Megan. How you doing?
Hi, Matt.
Coach
Great,
Auriemma?
thanks.
Hi, Matt.
Actually, I have a comment and a question. The comment I want to make is you guys are killing me on senior nights. I feel like these are my kids, and they're graduating, and I'm crying just as much as they are.
You get a reprieve this year.
Yeah.
The question, yes, about Sade Houston. Do you think that she would live up to her potential this year? Because it really looked like she struggled the first 2 years, and I'll hang up and let you answer. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, I would say Sade was somewhat inconsistent her first 2 years. She showed signs of being able to be a great player, and then showed signs of being totally out of sorts with the rest of the team and with the game that was being played at that time. The frustrating part about it was you never knew which was going to be when. Why? Who knows? You know, there's a lot of reasons for it. Could be any one of a million reasons. But I think this year there seems to be a renewed self-confidence, the focus that she needs, a commitment kind of to herself to do it the right way and to get in shape during the off season, which she did, and to come back, you know, much more prepared, I think, mentally and physically to be the player that she is. And so far, given the first month of practice, she's done exactly that.
Yeah, people I know were very critical at the end of last season of you for, because they, you know, the fans here like to kind of defend the players, but.
What did I do?
just your frustration with her, I think, and some things that were said at the end of last season.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know what's funny about Sade? When Sade plays like she's capable of playing, when she does the things that you see her do right there, you say to yourself, there's very few kids out there that are that big, that strong, that quick, that athletic.
Who can do all the things.
Who can do all the things that she can do. So for anybody to think, well, what's he being so crazy about or critical about, well, you sit at home, watch on TV, you people out there, and tell me you're jumping up and down, when she's, playing like we've seen Sade play. And as far as the end of last year is concerned, that just goes to show you how media people are so stupid sometimes, it was all blown out of proportion. I never said Sade lost the game for us. You never read that anywhere. I never said Sade was the reason we lost the game. I never said that. I never blamed anybody for anything. I was asked a simple question. How should Sade feel tonight after tonight's game? I said she should feel lousy.
Right.
How would you expect her to feel? And she should feel disappointed in herself, in her teammates, that she let her teammates down, that she let herself down, that she wasted an opportunity. She should feel terrible, which she did. And she should be embarrassed, which she was.
Which is maybe why she worked so hard in the offseason in the summer.
I think that had a lot to do with it.
Right.
I think that had a tremendous amount to do with it. Sometimes you got to hit rock bottom, before you look in the mirror and say, I don't want to be thought of like this anymore.
All
And
right.
good for her. She did.
All right, Pete from Brantford.
Hi, Megan. Hi, Geno.
Hi, Pete.
Hi, Pete.
Really enjoying the show tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys are funny. Question for
You
you.
mean like funny like a clown?
Do we amuse you?
Like, do we amuse you? What do you mean?
I don't know. I just like the style of interaction.
We're kidding, Pete.
Between you. It's pretty good. My question is about Jen Rosati of the University of Hartford Hawks, and how much of her style with her offensive and defensive alignment has she borrowed from the teacher?
Well, if you ask Jen, she'll tell you probably not much. And that's probably true. Jennifer's got to coach the way her personality is, and she's got to teach the things that she feels comfortable teaching. And she's had exposure to a lot more coaches than just me, playing in the WNBA, playing in the ABL. So I'm sure she's picked up a lot of things along the way. I would venture to say there's some things in their practices and in the way they run their program that is very similar to the way we do things. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I would think that some of the stuff that they do is stuff Jen picked up along the way. Some is stuff she picked up from Connecticut. And some is just stuff that's ingrained, right in Jen as a person and as a coach. And generally, that's what you find most good coaches. They don't try to, emulate any one particular person.
Right, and then don't forget Chris Lamb is there, another UConn alum.
Yeah.
Who just had twins.
Yes, yeah. Chris
So
was there. Chris was there.
congratulations,
Chris
Lammer.
had
Yep.
twins. Yep.
Twin
yep.
boys.
Twin boys.
Okay, Carmelo from Milford.
Hey, Megan. Hey,
Hey,
Geno.
Carmelo.
Hey.
Hey, great show. I got a quick question for Geno.
Yeah.
And Geno, I was wondering if the men's team will get killed by Syracuse again this year, and do they have any laptops? Go Cute.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, our record against Syracuse last year was 2-1.
Ooh.
We
think you're
beat
right.
them twice, and they beat us at Madison Square Garden. Where if you were to look at the record of us against Syracuse in the last 3 or 4 years, I bet you we've beaten them a lot more than they've beaten us.
Yeah, you're right.
And if you were to ever check the police report up in Syracuse, which they only have one newspaper, and it's all crayons, you would see that, that old saying, if you live in glass houses, you shouldn't throw stones. So I wouldn't talk too much about that stuff.
Chuck from Mystic, you are on the air, Chuck.
Hi, good evening, Megan.
Hi there, Chuck.
And good season to you guys. Geno,
Yeah.
I have a question to ask you about our freshmen, our new recruits.
Yeah.
Now, while they were in high school, they were the all-star. They received all the attention.
Mm-hmm.
Now, coming to UConn, how do you go about teaching them that the team they're coming on to, the sophomores and stuff like that, they are the stars, and they're not going to get individual attention anymore like they did in high school?
Well, those kids that are sophomores and juniors, they had to learn it too. So it's the same every year with the incoming freshmen. But most of the kids that we recruit, they already know that. That's
Maybe
why they
that's
come
why
here.
they come here, yeah.
I mean, that's why they come here. So somebody coming into our program as a freshman who's used to shooting 30 times every night, they learn real quickly it's not going to be like that. But if they wanted to shoot 30 times every night, they would have gone somewhere else.
Right.
So most of them come here with the idea that, hey, I'm tired of getting double teamed and triple teamed and being, the center of attention. Now, don't get me wrong. Some kids can't handle not being the center of attention.
Right.
And we've had a couple of those.
They usually don't last long.
And they're high maintenance. But if you're high maintenance and are really good, I can deal with that. If you're high maintenance and can't play worth a lick, I got a problem with that.
Okay, Orlo from Coventry. You were on the air, Orlo.
Well, I want to say hi to both of you.
Hello
Hi.
there.
And I was at the game the other night with Team Concept, and I thought it was a terrific thing to happen at
It
the
was
university.
Yeah.
But I want to tell you, both of you, and particularly Geno, I thought one of the nicest shots of the whole night was after the game was over, and Geno was coming out down the aisle passage into the locker rooms, and he was holding your baby.
He
And
was,
I just thought
you're
that
right.
was a terrific shot.
Thank
Now,
you
having
very
said
much.
that, my other comment is I spoke to my wife about it, and I firmly was so pleasantly surprised in the play of the team that night. And I said, this gal, Tina Charles, has made or is helped making Sade Houston a better player. And it's almost like you have two sets of great bookends there. And also McLaren came in with a very heady kind of game and knowing where to be when getting rebounds. And when she got that ball, she had control of it. And that's
Thank you.
Want
Thank
to know
you
what
for
your thoughts about that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Orlo.
Well, we're lucky, in that sense. We've got, a big kid that can score, and we've kind of not been in that situation for a couple of years now. Jessica wasn't really that much of a scorer, and Will and Barbara was a 5'10" kid trying to play, power forward
Right.
in the lane, and so we are very fortunate right now to have those two kids, Tina Charles and Kylie McLaren. And it's a good point. That has helped kind of limit how many things Sade has to do.
Right.
And as a result, it's making her an even better player than she was before.
And let's say, Kylie McLaren, it says there that she's 6'2", but she plays a lot bigger than 6'2".
Yeah, Kylie plays a lot bigger than 6'2", and she is a lot bigger than 6'2".
She's a big kid.
She's a big kid, and we're trying to teach her, Jamel especially is trying to teach her how to best use that from a position standpoint, footwork, and all that good stuff. And
Because you haven't had a player like her
ever.
probably ever, right?
No,
Yeah.
no.
I mean, you
the
can't
closest
compare her to
thing,
Kara.
Yeah, Kara was just so much taller, but they do have similar skills in that they're very instinctive. I thought Kara had great instincts
Right.
for the game. So, I'm excited about the two of them.
All right. Charlie from Derby. You are on the air with Geno, Charlie.
Hi, Megan. Hi, Coach.
Hi, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie.
I'd like to ask you, Coach, do you have your recruiting that is done principally by yourself, or do you have surrogates out there in the country who refer these prospects to you, and then you weed them out from from the films you see of them and the reliability that you have on these people who refer them to you?
Most of it is done by our staff. Chris and Tanya, Jamel, they're out all summer long. And you're not just looking at a particular age group all summer long either. You're looking at there's going to be 9th graders, 10th graders, 11th graders. And what you're doing is you're compiling a database of kids, and then you follow their progress. And then you've got coaches that you've had relationships with that will call you or you'll talk to. But most of the time you'll spot some kids when they're in 9th grade and then follow their progress. And some you stop recruiting, some aren't interested in you, and then some you end up getting.
That's got to be one of the toughest parts of the job.
It's probably, as far as I'm concerned, the only tough part of the job. Everything else is kind of easy. That is hard.
Yeah,
But
it is.
you know, it's as is the case with a lot of things, the most important part of the job
It's the hardest.
is the hardest part of the job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Beverly from North Haven, you are on, Beverly.
Hi, Geno.
Hi, Beverly.
I just wanted to tell you, I really enjoyed listening to the team concept game, but I really wish we could have watched it.
It was exciting. It was.
I mean, a game like that with all your past players, it would be really super to have it broadcast.
Yeah.
So you got to call CPTV on that one.
You
I will do
Just
that.
kidding.
Get the phone calls and letters coming. Get Jerry Franklin and put that game on television.
Absolutely. And the other thing I was wondering is does it affect Diana's psyche to be, after having been a winner all through high school and college, how do you think she manages to deal with being on a team that hasn't been that successful?
Well, she's been in the WNBA, what, 2 years now? Or 3? This was her 3rd year.
Is there 3 already?
I believe so. So she played after, when she graduated, 204, after the 204 season, after the 205, summer of 205, and summer of 206. Would that be right? Yeah. So I think this was her 3rd year. And 2 years in a row, they just missed the playoffs, and then they just missed it again this year. And my thinking is that she's a much better player now than she's ever been. So in terms of being a better player, I've never seen her better, to the point where she may be the best player in the world right now, today,
Wow, that's scary.
as she proved at the World Championships.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And she can't ever become the player that I think she wants to be known as until such point in time when her team wins a championship. Because if her team were to win it, it would be directly because of her.
Right.
And, you know, with Sue had Lauren Jackson, and Swin had that whole cast up there when they
Right,
won.
in Detroit, yeah.
So with Dee, it would be mainly on her shoulders.
Well, the one thing I would imagine is a little bit nicer is that her bank account has gotten much bigger.
Yeah, her bank account's gotten bigger. Her
you know.
ego's gotten even bigger, if you can imagine. And she takes more shots in one half than
How about that?
some guys take in their career.
But think of the great thing that she did. They built that playground,
Oh, yeah.
which we went down and helped out
Yeah.
with down in Bridgeport.
Yeah. She does a lot of good things.
Yeah,
I mean,
she really gives back to the community.
She does. And she makes everybody she meets feel special.
Yeah.
And that's what makes her special.
Yeah, absolutely. Rick from Bridgewater, you are on with Geno, Rick.
Well, good evening, guys, and thanks for
Hello.
a great show as always.
Thank you very much.
I have a question. A few years ago, Geno made a comment about the regulations of high school basketball in Connecticut being such that that's what interfered with why we weren't getting Connecticut women on the Connecticut Yukon Huskies. I wonder if you could elaborate about that.
Well, one of the things that I said was that I don't know whether it's a function of we're a small state, small schools, kids have to play more than one sport. So as a result of that, there's a lot of rules that prevent high school players from spending a lot of time with their coaches or with their teammates in the off season trying to get better. So there's not that supervised, there's not the instruction that you might get. And then come September, October, and it's not till the week before Thanksgiving that they can do anything basketball-wise. So there's a lot of time that other schools in other states, their kids are getting a lot better. They're playing more, there's more instruction, there's just a lot more opportunities to be with their coaches. We don't have that in Connecticut. We don't have a shot clock, which means the scores are 28, 25, so the kids aren't really getting a chance to play. You know, there's an awful lot of things that I think could be implemented to make the level of play a little bit better.
All righty. Marcus from Vernon.
You guys had mentioned some things tonight about big kids that can score. Tina, Kylie, and everybody. Where does that put your sophomore from Indiana?
Cassie Kearns?
Yeah, does she find a role on the team, or is she sort of?
I hope so. I hope so. You know, that's one of the things that you know, she's not nearly as big as those other guys. You know, Cassie's more of a like a high post player. You know, and she's come back a little bit better than she was when she left in the spring.
You mean stronger?
A little stronger, a little quicker. You know, and right now she's just she's just struggling to make some plays right now, make shots. One of the things she's going to have to do if she wants to play a lot is, she's going to get a ton of those open 15-footers because everybody's always double teamed in the lane. So if she's out there, she's got to be able to make a couple of those 15-footers.
And she can shoot the ball.
And she can shoot the ball. She's really struggling right now shooting the ball. But I don't worry about Cassie. She's a great kid, a hard worker, very conscientious, and she'll find a way to help us somewhere.
All right, very good. Shane from Milford, you are on with Geno.
Hi, Megan. Hi, Geno.
Hi, Shane.
I have a question for you. When the national championships were being won back-to-back-to-back, it seemed like you had more of a motion offense. Now, I know players dictate that, and Diana Taurasi, with the kids, you had to go to set offenses. But it seems like we're getting into almost like a college, or even a boring NBA game where it's just, watching one player take on another player. And the more beauty, I think, of women's basketball is the motion offense. And I don't know if the players are dictating for you to change the system, but the last couple of years it seems like you're not taking apart defenses with the fluidity of a motion offense like you used to. I was wondering if that was a conscious effort or not.
Well, certainly not conscious. Yeah, certainly not conscious. Believe me, if I could, if I could go back and run the same stuff that we've run from 1995 through 2004. I would tell you that I would do that, and we did, every year. Mm-hmm. I mean, we ran the same stuff pretty much every year.
With little variations.
With very little variations. And what happened was, in the last couple of years, we've not had the kind of guard play that allows you to do that. Mm. If you think back to all those years, we've had, arguably, during that 9-year stretch, the best point guard in the country almost every one of those years.
Right.
Whether it was Rita even, or Jen, or Sue, Diana.
How good is Rita now, by the way?
Yeah, well, so right now we don't have that same level, and we haven't had the passing ability of some big guys, which really keeps the offense going. But I think you'll be surprised this year how well the offense moves, because Renee has complete control of her offense.
Right.
She's got a little bit of Rita, a little bit of Diana in her.
She does. She's a terrific leader. Even just in the team concept game, I noticed talking more on the court, directing everybody.
She's got a lot going on. So there'll be a lot more. But at the same time, there's going to be a lot of post-ups this year because we're just really big. But how we get to that point, I think will be pretty exciting. We know we got some new wrinkles in our offense for this particular group.
We all have new wrinkles.
Well, I got old ones.
Mike from Derby, you're on.
Hello, Megan and Geno.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Geno, you're a legend. I love you. I'm a big Connecticut
How much did he pay you?
A legend in Derby or a legend in life? A
legend in his own mind.
Yes, overall. The question I have, seeing this team that you have, do you see them as winning the championship? And second part to our question, not what are some things they need to work on in order to make themselves a championship team?
Do I see them as winning a championship? That's a hard question for me to answer right now, today. But that doesn't necessarily mean it can happen. I mean, if you'd asked me last year, do we have a chance to win a national championship, I would have said probably not. But we're one basket away from going to the Final Four, and then anything could happen.
Right.
Right now, this team, I don't know yet. I would like to answer that question in about 2 months, because I have a pretty good idea. We have a lot of strengths. This team has a lot of strengths, a lot of good things that we do. We have a lot of weaknesses too. We're going to have to clean up a bunch of stuff, and our margin for error is not great because we don't have.
But it hasn't been big for a long time.
No,
for a couple years anyway.
Well, I'm sure one of the questions would be, well, you didn't have a great margin for error a couple years ago when you had no seniors, 4 starters graduated. Yeah, but you still had the best player in the country. If you tell me right now that Sade or Renee is going to play like the best player in the country, then I'll tell you we got a chance to win it all. So maybe.
All right. Lori from Woodstock.
Hi there, Megan.
Hi,
and Geno.
Lori.
Hi, Lori.
My husband and I have been avid fans for years and years and years, and I have a comment and a question. My comment is we were very disappointed that the exhibition game last week was not aired on CPTV, especially with the former players. Coming back to UConn to play. And my question is, how do you think Brittany Hunter's injuries will impact the beginning of the season?
Well, obviously it's going to have some impact, but we don't even know what the extent of the injuries are because from day one, it's been the same. You know, ever since Brittany had the surgery, we've been kind of on a day-to-day, you know, how is it today? You know, how's it going to be next week? And, you know, when she's able to go, she goes, and when she can't go, she can't go.
And, you know, what a crummy way for her to be experiencing what's supposed to be the best time of your life, that every day is, I mean, not only the physical pain that I'm sure she's in, but that takes a toll on you mentally.
Yeah, it does.
And emotionally.
And there's no way to...
Nothing you can do about it.
There's no way to prevent, you know, it from happening or to do anything once it does happen. But right now, you know, Brittany's practiced the last 3 days, and we're going to go to the arena tomorrow, and she's either going to be pain-free or she's not. And, you know, she wants to play Monday. That's important to her, to play the first game.
Right.
So, you know, we'll probably sit her out tomorrow and see what happens. And if
she's
she can
not
go,
wearing a knee brace, correct?
No.
Yeah.
If she can't go, if she can go Monday, she's going to go, however long she can, whatever her body tells her, and that's how we're going to approach it for the rest of the season.
All right, John from Prospect, you are on with Geno.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
I had a question. Maybe I missed the very beginning of the program, but I was wondering if there are any new rules this year and how you think they might impact the game.
Like points of emphasis?
Yeah,
I didn't see them.
there isn't much. There isn't much. One of the new rules, which I'm glad the rule is in, you know, when a player is falling out of bounds and they call timeout before they land out of bounds,
right?
Which at one time was a really smart play because somebody thought of that. They're falling out of bounds and they call timeout.
Right.
Late in the game, they save possession. You get a chance to win the game. Now, somebody gets the tip. They come down, make a pass. The ball's going out of bounds. Kid goes timeout. So half a minute into the game, you already burned one timeout. So I'm glad they did away with that.
And what's the penalty going to be?
You just don't get the timeout. It's a turnover.
Oh, okay.
So that's the one significant change that I see. In the exhibition, we're toying around with the, 10-second line, get it across, which I have no idea why we don't have that in the rules. Get it across in 10 seconds. Doesn't seem like it's too much to ask. We moved the line back to the international line.
The three-point line.
The three-point line. So it's more in line with what the rest of the world is doing.
Right. It was 19.9.
It's 20.
What is it?
20.6 or something like that. So all those things are good. Spread the court out a little bit, make the court a little bit bigger.
All right, very good. Richard from Cheshire, you are on the air, Richard.
Hey, Coach and Megan. Thank you very much for taking the call, and congratulations to Coach on the Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
First mention.
I had a question. Other sports do this, and I didn't know if you guys at UConn did it, but when you're playing against different opponents and throughout the year, and even season to season, some teams will have different goals that they set, how many points you want to score, how few you want to give up, number of assists, things like that, game to game, and in fact year to year. Do you guys do that, or is that something that you shy away from?
No, it's something that we've always tried to do. Some years it lends itself more than others, but every game there's a list of things that we're trying to accomplish that basically doesn't have anything to do with winning.
Right.
It's all how many rebounds, how many steals we want to get, how many assists we want to get, what our field goal percentage shooting is, what we want, how many free throws we might want to attempt. So there's a list of things that we want to try to accomplish, and it serves to keep the players' minds on accomplishing little things rather than worrying about winning the game.
Absolutely. And I know that has always been a big focus for you guys.
Yeah.
And the players take it very seriously. I can remember even way back when I played.
Yeah.
That it's a big deal. And CD would come in the locker room after the game, and the first thing the players wanted to know about was, okay, what did we get our goals? We had to get a certain number. What was it? It used to be 12.
Yeah, well, yeah, because we had a whole bunch of, we might have had 15, 16 different things we're trying to accomplish, and that was the first question you guys asked. But that was the difference back then. Now CD walks in, the kids go, CD, all right if I turn on my cell phone now? So times have
There were
changed.
no
you know.
cell phones when I played,
Times
by the
have
way.
changed now. Well, there were cell phones, but if you carried them on your shoulder, you would get, you know,
Arthritis.
arthritis.
All right, Joe from Seymour, you are on the air, Joe.
Hi, Megan.
Hi,
Geno.
Joe.
First
Hi,
of all,
Joe.
I'd like to thank Geno, making my father a very happy man. He's 83 years old, and he follows every game, and he just thinks that you're wonderful and what you do with the girls every year. That's
Thank
my
you.
comment. Thank you very much for making him happy. He's 83-year-old Italian man. It takes a lot to make him happy. My question is, your caliber of team this year compared to the teams you've had in the last 10 years, can you think they could run the same pattern, something like with Taurasi within the next 4 years with the freshmen you have now?
I don't think we're ever going to see anything like we saw during that stretch, you know, where, you know, you think about it, in a 10-year stretch, we went to 7 Final Fours and won 5 national championships. I don't know if that's realistic,
right?
Given the way the game has changed and how spread out the talent is.
Yeah,
but that's
the
not to
big
say
thing.
it can't happen,
Right.
because the one thing you always have in your favor that it can happen is the kids are there for 4 years. Now that's good and bad because your guys are there 4 years. But if somebody else gets on a roll, like Maryland, and they win a national championship, which they did last year, and they have everybody back, you know, this is when you're hoping a couple of them will leave. But you know, you're there for 4 years in college, so it can be done. It's just going to be a lot harder than it's ever been.
Talk a little bit about the polling coming into this season, the preseason polls. You guys.
One poll I saw, we were 4th.
Yeah, this
One was
ESPN
8th.
USA Today, you're 8th.
Yeah, one was 6th. I saw one that was 6th. And I saw
Is that
one
your
that
own
was
poll?
13. Mine?
Where would you put you guys?
No. Where would I put us? I don't know. I don't know yet. Usually I know. Usually, you know, that's the difference sometimes with us. You know, there's one. There's I put us
Big
1
East.
in the Big East. We're preseason number 1
That's
in that
a lot
poll.
of teams, man.
16 teams, isn't it? Isn't that amazing?
It is
Look at Notre
amazing.
Dame, 11.
Wow.
You know, Villanova. Those are 2 really good teams.
Yeah.
You know, West Virginia. People are crazy if they think West Virginia is going to finish 9th. I don't know what coaches voted. They must ask the soccer coaches to vote on basketball.
Okay, Marie from Stonington. Thanks for holding.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, I have a question for you, Coach.
Yeah.
Hey, the pressure to put your kids through the AAU is ridiculous, I think. Though everyone makes you believe that is the only way that your kid will ever get looked at.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm of the thought process that if your kid is good enough and you've got a good coach, you'll get looked at. And I also think that if your kid is forced to play hoop 365 days a year, they're going to get pretty sick and tired of it. So I was kind of wondering what your thoughts are.
I've never thought that playing too much basketball was bad.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if you're playing because somebody's telling you to play, then that's bad.
Right.
If you're going to AAU practice because your parents want you to go, or you're involved in a travel team of some kind because somebody's telling you have to,
Right.
at some point, yeah, you're just going to get sick of it.
Right.
You know, if you're playing because you get up in the morning and that's all you want to do, I mean, I've always encouraged playing more than one sport. I mean, I did that with my son. And all of a sudden he says, oh, I don't want to play this, I want to play basketball. Okay, well, you know, if that's what you love to do, then go ahead and do it.
Right.
As far as getting exposure, unfortunately, playing on those travel teams is right now probably the best way for someone to play against real good competition and to put themselves in a position where there's a lot of college coaches or a lot of coaches watching. But certainly that's not the only way. But it is one of the better ways, but it's not the only way. If you're good, you're good.
Right.
And if you want to, you know, be recruited by a school, take a video of one of your games and send it to the coach and say, hey, coach, and the coach will look at it and give you an answer.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pete from New Haven. Okay, Pete. Thanks for calling. We missed you. But you're right. I mean, so many kids. How often do you get tapes sent to you?
A lot. You know, now more than before, you get something on the computer. You know, somebody might send you something, but you know, or you get a DVD or something. But that's always been the case. You know, if you're a kid and you know you're pretty good and you want to go to a particular school, start the recruiting process yourself. Don't wait to be recruited.
Absolutely. Nick from Bridgeport.
Hi, Geno.
Yeah.
I wanted to see if we could get an opinion on the new basketballs they're using in the NBA. And our girls are using them into college now. The new synthetic ones.
Yeah, you know, I don't know that it's that big a deal. I know for a fact when we first went from a real true leather ball to a synthetic one, all the players liked it better.
When was that? Do you remember?
Yeah. I think the first one that came out might have been, remember, like Wilson Revolution or something, or The Rock from Mohinder, you know?
Yeah, The Rock.
Now, when The Rock first came out, it was a rock. Actually, it was one that just came out of the water, and it was slippery.
There's some algae on it.
Yeah. Now, you get these balls of synthetic, man, they feel great.
Yeah.
So the guys that are complaining in the NBA, guys that can't shoot, like Shaq's complaining about the ball. What difference does it make?
Just dunk it.
Just dunk it.
Jim from Manchester.
Coach, I just want to say a real privilege to talk to a Hall of Famer. We're lucky to have you.
Thank you.
And secondly, Tamira Williams and Kalana Green. Will this be their year?
Well, right now, Kalana Green's got a chance to, you know, play some significant minutes and play a significant role. She's much more of a pure scorer.
She's fun to watch.
She's got a lot of different things that she does. You know, see that inside, you know, she's making 15-footers.
And she's a great kid.
Yeah, she is. She's a little too nice, you know. She ought to get a little bit of an edge to her, you know. She's just nice. You know, Tahira's trying to figure out what she has to do to get on the court. And one of them is going to be, like, if you watch Tahira at her best, this is, you know, she's going to play good defense. You know, she's going to run the floor. You know, she's going to have to get her points. Not necessarily like that, but she's going to have to get her points, you know, off of defense, off of transition, you know, in a situation where she can use her athletic ability, because she's kind of caught in between that, not really a guard. I mean, she played center in high school. Now she wants to be a guard. It's hard.
Right.
So the transition is not easy.
Now, the talk early this season, is she going to move into the backcourt a little bit?
I don't know. I think that remains to be seen in practice.
Okay. Julius from Stratford. You are on the
Geno, we've had a couple of playoff games down in the area at Harbor Yard.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you could tell us what the problems might be with bringing a regular season game down to our area here in the southwestern part of the state.
Well, the biggest problem in bringing a regular season game down here will probably be something that would really, so minute and so small that would probably shock you. Money. You know, our athletic department needs the funds that we generate from playing home games to run the athletic department. That's all part of the deal. And if we move a game that's a home game to another site where we don't have the opportunity to use that as a revenue piece that we normally use it for, then it makes it very difficult for us. Now, can we? We've talked about having an exhibition game down here every year. You know, take one of the exhibitions and go down there. I would love nothing better than to get involved in that part of the state more, because anytime we've been down there, people have treated us unbelievable. Unbelievable. Maybe because they don't get a chance to see us as often. Maybe they're not around, you know, and you know, it's an opportunity for them as opposed to, you know, just go to a game. But those people down there, I'll tell you what, they have been absolutely fantastic to our program.
You are right. Keith from Putnam. You're
Hey,
on.
good to see you guys. Love watching Mel Thomas. Reminds me of Shea Ralph. Is there anyone on the team that's tougher than her?
Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah, we haven't talked much about Mel tonight.
Yeah, probably not. If Mel was about 3-4 inches taller, she'd be the reincarnation of Shea Ralph. Because Mel can shoot. Don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously we've all seen that. But this is what Mel wants to do.
He wants to mix it up.
Yeah, Mel's like, Mel's a great shooter, obviously, and getting better every day and getting better, almost every drill. But Mel's like a wide receiver who wants to play middle linebacker. And that's like how Shea was. Mel just wants to go in the lane and whack people around, but unfortunately she's only 5'9", 5'10", not 5'10", she's 5'9". But yeah, tough and gutsy and going to be under the gun a lot this year because we don't have a lot of three-point shooters. So she's going to draw a lot of attention this year.
How about leadership with Mel?
Well, Mel's always been a leader and example in terms of if you watch me work, then that's the example I'm setting. And this year she's become a little more vocal, a little more, kind of assertive, but in a different way than Renee might do it.
Oh, that's good.
Renee is just a natural, pure leader. I mean, just does it out of just her personality. That's who she is. With Mel, it's a
little bit more of an effort.
Yeah, it's a little more. Yeah, she's not comfortable as much.
All right, Stephanie from New Haven, you are on the air with Geno. Stephanie?
Yes.
Hi there. Go ahead. You have your question for Geno?
Yes. Hi, Geno.
Hi.
Due to the impact that Tina Childs had in high school, what kind of player do you expect her to be at UConn?
Well, I expect her to be the same as she was in high school. She went undefeated there 2 years in a row. I told her if she can't get that done for us, then there's no point in recruiting her, Tina, I wouldn't be surprised if she's All-American this year as a freshman. I mean, that's how good she is. She might have the same impact for us in our league that Courtney Powers had at Oklahoma last year.
Really?
Yeah, that's how good Tina is.
Wow.
No, she doesn't play defense. She doesn't rebound. She doesn't block shots.
No, that's a bit of a stretch saying she doesn't do any of those
Oh, really?
things.
How's it a stretch? Her nickname is 2 blocks. She has 2 blocks in the first month of the season. Tina 2 blocks Charles.
Did you give her that name?
Yes. I told her there must be some, ancient ancestors in her, in her family. But when she gets the ball, she scores.
All right, that's what you want.
She scores.
You could teach her the other stuff. That's why they pay you the big bucks.
Hey, let me tell you something. I'd rather teach a kid how to play defense and block shots than how to score. So Tina's got that part covered.
Good, because I've seen you shoot.
Well,
June
okay.
from Wethersfield, you are on.
Geno, congratulations for the Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
My husband and I are season ticket holders, and I just have one comment. We are delighted to go to the games and be the folks there to cheer the team on. I've heard 2 of your callers call and say they were sorry that other exhibition game was not on CPTV. My response to them is buy tickets and show up.
There you go.
Yeah. I think, we're in a kind of a funny time here, when the games weren't on, people would all come to the arena and people were disappointed that they couldn't get a ticket. Then when the games were shown, even more people came to the arena and 5 times as many people were watching the games.
Right.
I think we've reached a point now where sometimes people take the easy way out and just say, okay, we'll watch the games.
Right.
Or, going to a game means going to a big game.
Yeah.
Not going to go to all the games. I'm going to go to the big games.
Right.
And I'll watch the other ones on CPTV. So, CPTV's done a great job of bringing the games to the people. But I will tell you, if we're not, able to, through either corporate donations to CPTV or being able to generate income at UConn, it's going to be hard to keep going with this.
Absolutely.
So the people, unfortunately, or fortunately, the people out there watching are going to have to do an unbelievable job of supporting the program in person and CPTV, you know, so that the games stay on television. That's asking a lot, but that's where we are today.
Yeah, and it's interesting because every time I walk into, whether it's Gamble or the Civic Center, and the place is sold out, I'm in awe because I remember when nobody cared.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the field house.
Absolutely.
You know, when it would rain and the thing would leak, and you know, so it's come a long way, and yet at the same time, I think as wonderful as the fans are, I think there is amount of, I think, which is in a way just natural. There's people and they kind of take it for granted. Like, you know?
Yeah, when you've won as many games as we have, there gets to be this feeling of, well, we're entitled to wins. And maybe you need to lose a little bit so that people realize that winning's hard.
And you know what? The last 2 years, I know, haven't been up to your standard. We only have a few seconds left. But this next year, I know, is going to be exciting. You're excited. We're excited. And we want to thank all of you for watching this show. We're just about out of time. We will see you Monday night. Thanks for watching.
We will not tolerate another 32-5 season under any circumstance.